I'm going to show you guys how to change out a design today. So I'm always going to start by pushing back my cuticles. Just a really quick push on the cuticles just to kind of lift them up. Now, when I'm completely changing out a design, I don't want to spend time trying to take off all of this product. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip off that free edge so that all I have to remove would be over the nail bed area. Okay. When you're clipping that nail off, you always want to make sure to check underneath. Make sure that hyponychium isn't poking out to where you're going to clip into it. It's not too far out, so I should be good, but I always tend to clip just a little farther out than I think I need to. And usually one clip on one side, but sometimes you may need to come over to the other side and just give it another clip right there. Okay. Now comes the fun part, the removal of the rest of the glitter. But I'm just going to kind of work in a circular motion with my bit. I'm not staying in one spot over and over because that can actually build up heat. You'll start to see areas that the glitter is starting to come off, and I'm going to avoid going over those areas again. I start to do a little bit more of those feathering motions rather than those long circulars, just to get into those kind of those smaller spaces. Alright, so I've got just a tiny little hairline lift right at this edge, but otherwise everything is adhered really well. That little hairline lift I'm going to get with my other bit, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. Alright, so the next bit that I'm going to use is I'm going to come in with our sanding band. So this is a medium sanding band. I'm going to turn my speed on my E-file down to about 4,000 to 6,000 RPMs. So I'm just going to come through right around that cuticle area. I'm kind of coming up my sidewall and around that cuticle area and then back down that sidewall, just to really prep that natural nail. And then I'm going to flow through the rest of that surface, and this is usually when I get the last little bits of that glitter off of that nail. So again, I do have just that tiny little bit of lifting right on that edge. So I'm just going to kind of feather that away. I'm kind of working from top down in just kind of that feathering motion. And what that's going to do is it's actually going to thin out that product right behind that lifted area. So just coming through, there we go. See that tiny little bit of product? It's just flaking away now. All right, and we've got our lifted product removed. This is our diamond cuticle square bit, and this one is going to be really good for getting right up into those cuticle areas, just like we did with our sanding band. I'm going to get right up into that cuticle area and really get that cleaned out, and we are ready to fill. So I'm going to come in with my swipe, and I'm going to dust off that nail. I want to make sure that my nail is nice and dry before I put that protein bond on. So let's get our form on. So I'm going to just get that form right up under the nail, and then as I look at it straight on, I want to make sure that it's coming straight out from my nail, straight out from my finger. Okay, so one thing I want to check is I'm going to look at my hand straight on. So I'm actually looking from this view. I want to make sure that my form is straight in line with my finger, because my nail actually is a little bit crooked. So if I were to put that form on in line with my nail rather than the finger, my nail is going to look crooked. Okay, I'm going to start with my clear sculptor in the tubes, and I'm going to just build out my free edge. So at this point, I'm really just trying to create a thin extension. I'm not trying to build up the nail. I'm just giving myself a platform to work on. Make sure that that is straight in line with my sidewalls. Let's go ahead and get that into the light. On this one, I'm just going to set that in there for about 30 seconds. It's going to freeze it into place, and then we can go on to our next step. Free edge is cured out. Right now, there's not a whole lot holding that free edge onto my nail, so I'm going to leave my form on, and I'm going to put my base coat on. And then I'm going to blend this out over that free edge. And this is what's going to really connect that extension to my nail. All right, and again, we're going to pop that back into the light for another 30 seconds, and we'll set that into place. So our second coat is now cured. Our base is cured. So I'm going to come through and I'm going to take that form off. All right, so at this point, something that's going to make life a little bit easier is a straight edge toenail clipper. So you can kind of see I've got some edges hanging down a little bit wonky. I'm going to use that straight edge toenail clipper to just kind of clean up those edges a little bit. Now we've got a nice, little bit more even surface to work on. All right, here comes the fun part. So I'm going to grab some glitters. So I've got Belly Crawl and Dragon Fruit as kind of my base colors. And then for some more dimension and some more texture to the nail, I've got Awesome Sauce and Lemonade Icy, and then Anti-Anxiety, because we all need a little bit of that. And then we've got Minor Raindrops. Okay, so those are going to be our colors. Okay, so we're going to come in with another coat of our base. And again, just polishing on a nice thin coat, just kind of brushing that through the surface of the nail. So this one I'm going to leave wet. I'm not going to cure that just yet, but I'm going to start to dab in some of my glitters. Okay, just kind of creating a background wherever you want those, kind of wherever they fall. So I'm going to set this into place because I don't want to smudge this when I'm putting on my next layer. So this one I'm just going to give, up to 30 seconds just to freeze that into place and set it into place. This nail, because it's going to be clear, we're using clear gels, it's going to actually cure all the way through eventually. We're going to do a final cure at the very end. So in between each of these layers, I would say 10 to 30 seconds just to kind of get that product to hold your glitter into place. So we just did 30 seconds, but 10 would have been fine. We're going to do our next coat. And this is where I'm going to start to apply some of the chunkier glitters. All right, so I'm just going to start picking and placing wherever I feel needs some color. And again, we've got that wet surface on the whole nail, so wherever you tuck these in, they're going to stick down. Okay, so we've got all of our glitters and Mylars and all the fun stuff on there. Now we're going to just come through and build up the rest of the structure. So I'm going to use my Build Pink, and I'm just going to cap the whole nail with the pink. And you can kind of see once I get that on there, you can see how it really does just make those glitters and everything pop. And then I do come back with my brush, and I come back to my cuticle area, make sure everything is tucked in there, make sure everything is capped where it needs to be capped. And then we'll get this into the light, and this time, because this is our final layer, I am going to cure this for a full 60 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and file this out. Before I do that, I'm going to give it a quick wipe with our swipe to clean off that tacky surface that's on there, and then we'll go ahead and file. Hopefully this video helped you understand how to change out your designs, how to remove all of that glitter really quick and easily, and how to redo your dimensional nails.